Hey everyone, I wanted to go ahead and take the opportunity to go over this problem from class today. This was the last problem we ended with on our review game when the bell rang. And it raised a few questions on how to do it, and so I wanted to take the time to go over it for you so you had one extra tool in your toolbox as you were studying for your test on Thursday. So the question was, a map of a town is placed onto the coordinate plane where each unit equals 1 mile. John's house is located at point 12, -15. John leaves his house and drives directly to his school, which is at a point 4 miles to the east and 10 miles north of his house. He then leaves the school and drives directly to the store, which is at a point that is 6 miles to the west and 2 miles south of the school. John then drives back home. To the nearest mile, how far did John drive in total? So the very first thing that I'm going to do with this problem is I'm going to kind of sketch it out, see what does it actually look like on the graph. So I'm going to start by graphing John's house at the point 12, -15. So there's John's house. John leaves his house and drives directly to his school, which is at a point 4 miles to the east and 10 miles north of his house. So I'm going to go 4 miles east and 10 miles north. Since he drove directly there, I can go ahead and connect those points, because if he drove directly there, it's kind of a straight shot. Alright, he then leaves the school and drives directly to the store, which is at a point that is 6 miles to the west and 2 miles south of the school. Since he drove directly there, you know, it's kind of a straight shot. John then drives back home. So he's at the store picking up groceries or whatever, then he goes home. I essentially want to find the area of this given shape. And this shape is a triangle. And so, knowing what I know about different types of triangle, I know I can create right triangles from each of these sides and use Pythagorean theorem to solve for the distance. Now you can also use the distance formula, but I'm a real visual kind of person, and so I'm going to show the method where you can just draw the right triangles. But if you like the distance formula, you can check your work by using the distance formula and see if you get the same thing, which you should. So I can make a right triangle here. I can make one here. And I can make one here. So since each of these are right triangles, and I want to find the line opposite my right angle, I'm solving for the hypotenuse 3 different times. Alright, so I'm going to start with this side so I can figure out his first length from his house to his school. So I know the height of this triangle is 10. And I know the base of this triangle is 4. Since I'm solving for the hypotenuse, I'm solving for c. So I have 4 squared plus 10 squared equals c squared, which is 16 plus 100, which is 116. And since that's what c squared is, I need to square root it to figure out what c is. And I'm going to get about 10.8. So I know the distance from his house to the school is about 10.8 miles. Now let's take a look at from the school to the store, and let's figure out the distance of those. So I know the base on this is 6 and the height is 2. So again, I'm solving for c, or the hypotenuse. So I have 2 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. 2 squared is 4, 6 squared is 36. Together that makes 40. Square root to find c, and I have c at about 6.3. So I know from his school to the store it's about 6.3 miles. The last distance I need to find is just from the store to his house. So again, I'm solving for the hypotenuse, where the base is 2 and the height is 8. So I have 2 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. So I have 4 plus 64, which together makes 68. And when you find the square root of that, you're going to get about 8.2. Now to simply find what all of that would be together, since our problem is asking to the nearest mile how far did he drive in total, I want to know each of those distances combined. I'm just going to simply add them up. Okay, 10.8 plus 6.3 plus 8.2, or if I want to say that mathematically, 10 and 8/10, 6 and 3/10, and 8 and 2/10. When you add those together, you get 25 and 3/10 of a mile, which to the nearest mile, like our problem asks, is about 25 miles long. So that's how you do that problem. I know that there's a lot of steps to it, but if you just think about it kind of one step at a time, it's a little bit more easy to manage. I want you to take note of how long it did actually take me to do this problem, as this video is about 7.5 minutes long. So just know that it's okay to take your time and go back and double check all of your answers to make sure that they make sense. I will see you tomorrow. Study for your test on Thursday.